In terms of photo setup, this is mine. Okay, lots of people have the LED boxes, light boxes, buy them for about 15 quid online. Problem with them is the LEDs, the colour temperatures can be all over the place. So you get mixed bag results, plus the material that they're actually inside them, it just shows up, especially the black one. If you've ever seen the black one, it shows up the actual material when you photograph. So this is my setup. There's one lamp here which cost a £5, and that lamp probably a little bit more because it's more adjustable. It was a painting. I can sometimes use it as a painting lamp. Okay, it doesn't really matter. I prefer this one because it's more adjustable than this little desk lamp, but you could get two of these little desk lamps for a £5 each from Wilko's. Okay, the most important thing really about the lights is obviously they're adjustable, but it's about the bulb. Okay, so these bulbs are from Amazon and they're 5000K. Okay, you want something that's 4 to 5000K. If you get the daylight that are like 6000, it'll wash everything out, all your colours out. You can play around on your phone with it, but that's, you know, you want to try and get the best representation of the colours just under the lights with the naked eye before putting a camera there, really. Then you don't have to do a load of adjustments with your camera settings. It's nice and quick. And this is why I buy separate lamps, because you can actually buy the right colour bulbs then. And they've got a diffuser on them. I'm trying to do this with one hand and it's a little bit stuck. There we go. Okay, so the other thing is the material that I've got, that is just masking tape, so I can peel it on and off onto the wall. You do it onto any other surface, you know, bookshelf or whatever. This material is photo card. You can buy it on eBay in sheets. I cut it to a nice size for where I have my photos set up. And you can get away with, if you just go to WH Smith's and get an A3 piece of card, white card, that'll do the job. The problem with it is probably won't last you long. This is wipeable, okay, and it's got a slightly more reflective surface, so the light does bounce off it a bit better. This from eBay, I think, probably cost me £8. On the reverse side is black as well, that's handy. And I also got this colour, which you can hardly see, I think. Just get a light over that. This colour, which is not black, and that's a pale, these are like a mauve, right? But when you take photos on it and you adjust your brightness setting, it'll look, the dark one will look near enough black, the mauve one looks really nice. And that all depends on what you're actually photographing. You know, play around with those different shades in the background to make your model stand out. Okay, so the positioning of the lights, for me, I like having one directly facing. They should be kind of facing from the top towards the model at that kind of angle. You can get away with just one. You can get away with just one light, but the other light helps to take out the shadow. Okay, the other thing that I do, as you can see, it's on a cooking book and a Shadespire box, is you have it raised, yeah, so that when you put your phone down, it's kind of level. You could raise your phone if you wanted a more, you know, more of the base showing a little bit. But generally, if you want a head-on shot, then you can raise the shooting surface, where your subject is, a little bit. I'm just adjusting that. And you can kind of play with the light there a little bit as well, and you don't have to move your phone. And also it means that you could actually put marks on the thing here that shows you every time where to place your phone. I'm using an iPhone SE, a new iPhone SE. It really does not matter what phone you use or what camera, to be honest, because at the end of the day, miniature photography, you don't want it to be mega high resolution. You don't want to be using any macro. Don't use any macro. This is the other thing is on iPhones, and I'm not sure on Android, is iPhones are set to automatically HDR. Turn that off. HDR will produce a number of exposures and pick one for you. We don't really need that. The other thing is that you want to be careful as well about exposure, because like as you see, if I move away, I can start, the phone starts to adjust. If it starts to adjust the exposure, so you just want to give it a second to settle. Yeah, all phones really now come with auto exposure. I couldn't figure out on an iPhone how to turn it off or to set it manually. With an iPhone, you tap in the middle and increase the exposure, I think. Yeah, it actually increases brightness. It doesn't increase exposure. So I'm not 100%, I'm not a photographer, but one thing to be careful of is exposure. The other thing is if you obviously wanted to make that a white background, then you can tap with an iPhone on the subject and raise that brightness level, and then maybe finish it off. And others, I like to have a background that, you know, it has a little shade of grey in it or something, because it helps with the model. Bright white overexposed photos look pretty terrible in my book. Nowadays with Photoshop and stuff, if people wanted to put it on a different background, it's fairly easy, isn't it? Yeah. So the only other thing is when you hold your camera, yeah, it needs to be just behind the light, okay, or level with where the light source is. So as you can see on mine, my light source is where my phone will go. It's kind of hard to show you because I'm using my phone right now, but my phone basically sits here, and they're kind of level with it. This one on the left, I keep stationary really. It just points to the model, lights up the area. The other one that's more adjustable, you see, you can raise the light up, that darkens it. I can bring it closer to the subject. Oh, it's just coming into shot there. I can point it more at the subject if we want to get a lighter thing. So I just kind of play with that. A lot of tutorials will say to have your light shining directly in line with your miniature. Yeah, it will show it all up like that. But actually, you want to try and create a more natural light, and it helps to show off where you put your highlights as well. If you want people to see where you put your highlights. So that's very, very close in. Yeah. Now, that brings me on to photographing miniatures, right? If you look with your naked eye at the miniature, that's what you're trying to represent. Yeah, a phone or a camera can zoom in much more than you would be able to actually. Even if you brought the miniature right up to your face, you'd lose it anyway because you can only focus on a little bit. So what you want to do is not really zoom. Yeah, don't zoom. Get your subject matter in place. Take the photo, and then. Even then, if you take that photo and you go into your photo gallery and you zoom in, you'll see how awful it looks. Yeah. What we want on the internet or when we're uploading to someone, somebody may need that high-res image, really, really high-res image in order to remove the background successfully. You want to resize your photos, okay? So find an app. I use one called Resize It from the Apple Store. Just because I've got an iPhone, and you want to crop and resize your photos to, generally for a single miniature like this, 800 by 800 is quite a good one for uploading to Instagram. It used to be 640. You can go lower, but it may diminish, depends what you're photographing, play around with it, but you want to get it to the smallest size without losing the image too much, but that when you zoom in and you can still see the detail, yeah, but you're not seeing every tiny little mark that you've put on that model. So hopefully that's useful about these. This is just what I do. It's what I've been taught. It's what I learned. You know, like I say, I'm not a photographer. I don't know everything about this. It's just what I do, and I think I produce some quite nice images.